Okay, hello again. Now, City Power saying it's going to beef up its teams and resources to deal with the outage backlogs in Johannesburg. Almost 2,000 calls have been received from customers reporting power outages. The Hursthill depot is said to have accounted most of these outages, with 650 calls coming from this area alone. Well, to give us the latest and what the progress being made to deal with these outages, I'm joined now by Mangena. He speaks on behalf of City Power. He's going to give us a little update as well about these backlogs. Mr. Mangena, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. This is bad. It's tough. What's causing these outages? Can we start there?
Good afternoon, Braden, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Our grid is really under tremendous pressure. It has been since Friday when the temperature started to dip and the demand for electricity started to rise because of the cold weather and even the rain that was there. You were mentioning numbers that were really when we woke up around 6. It was almost 1,900 of calls that came through. By lunch, just after lunch, that numbers has really gone up. We are sitting at about 2,662 calls, just around 2 o'clock this afternoon. And it's purely because of most of the outages that followed up from the backlog that we had this morning. You rightfully pointed out that Hursthill is topping that list. We've got areas such as River Lee, Industrial West, West Bay, and even Bosmont that just tripped around midday. But most of the area has been one of those that we had backlog since the weekend. It followed by Rudeport, Honeydew, Rensef, Velgehevel, Florida. They are also currently out because of cable faults. But we also have overloading in most of the areas, especially Princess and Lindhaven, Grobler Park areas because of the squatter camp around there that is called Princess, and it creates a huge problem in terms of overloading. Even many other areas that we have outages, including Alexandra, we do have a huge overloading because of the demand that is currently there.
Did you say 2,600 calls by 2 o'clock? That's the outages that you are getting for all those various reasons in different parts of Johannesburg? That's just nearly 3,000.
Yes, indeed. It's the build-up from the backlog that we had. We had lots of it in the areas around Hursthill, like I pointed out, due to the cable faults. We also have had another one in Lenasia because of the third-party contractor. In fact, Joburg Water nicked one of our main cables that's coming from a substation going into areas around Tradewood Mall. But we also have a double cable fault also in Ennerdale, affecting most of the Lenasia area. So it has been going on since the weekend. The rain did not assist Braden because of the kind of work that we're doing. It's sometimes difficult, almost impossible to do it in the rain. We had situations where we've got problems with the cables. When we have to do the trenching, the trenches just get flooded with water. So it has been difficult. And this morning it was also raining. It's still raining in most parts of the country, so it gets difficult. That's why there was that build-up of calls that started coming through, especially from those areas that I mentioned. And these are the areas where most of our customers are actually going through this Ramadan religious observation, and we really don't want the situation where we are inconveniencing them with electricity problems.
Yeah, it is the holy month of Ramadan for many Muslims currently. Now, Mr. Mangena, just a quick one. I can understand that the weather can play a part. You've expressed as your crews are digging, the holes get filled with water because it's raining. I can understand outages due to cable theft, as we know that it happens in the city of Johannesburg. But what I don't understand is why is it that some of your substations as well and your cables are not being well maintained? Because some of the work, I guess, will be lack of maintenance or delayed maintenance. You talk about backlogs. They just keep on piling up. Are you failing the residents of Johannesburg?
The backlogs, Praden, is not really about maintenance. We do maintenance religiously. We've got a plan almost every week. We've got areas that we do maintenance. So if you look at the problems that we are currently encountering, it's not really about the maintenance of our substations or transformers. It's mostly about the pressure that some of our low voltage equipment is basically having. The mini substations, the pole-mounted transformers, even the cables themselves. The cables we do replace whenever there is an issue with the cable. They don't really need much maintenance, especially since we are phasing out the oil.
Are you then going to boost the capacity of those low voltage substations that are coming under pressure, as an example, because going forward there might be more pressure?
Yes, we are. We are actually having a winter strategy to basically deal with most of this before the winter starts in the coming month. Or I'm sure we've already started with this winter. So we have that plan. It's always there every year. But our maintenance is actually bearing fruits, Braden. You'll remember we used to have problems in most of the areas, including North Riding, Rembek. I can tell you that by this morning there was there were not so many calls coming from those areas because of the amount of time and effort and resources that we have put in those areas in terms of maintenance. But with the cables, you remember every time there is a cable theft, it affects the infrastructure downstream, and that's where we see most of these problems. But also because of the third-party damages to our cables, we tend to get these instances where, and it doesn't show immediately, but then it happens only when there is moisture that starts to build around the cable. That's when it pops during the time of rain, but or also during load shedding. When we switch on electricity after load shedding, it looks for those areas that are weak, and that's when it basically just blows up because of those issues. So those are some of the issues that we...
Yeah, very briefly, Mr. Mangena, as we conclude, are you promising the residents of Johannesburg that as soon as the sun shines, hopefully the rain won't continue for many more days this week, you'll be able to address this outage backlogs that have existed, including in a place like Hursthill?
Yes, indeed. Places like Hursthill and Rutherford, we have actually started pumping in extra resources there, technicians and operators. We are also addressing the issue of the material so that we are able to respond quickly and efficiently in those areas. So there are teams on the ground as I'm talking to you currently, and I'm sure we'll be able to move the needle on most of those calls that are still outstanding.
Thank you very much for your time and explanations this hour. Isaac Mangena speaking on behalf of City Power.